welcome back. Well, if those high-tech gadgets you unwrap for the holidays are making you scratch your head, you might not be alone.
Figuring out how to use your new electronic friend can be a daunting task, and that's where the 44 steps in. With a preview of our tech support event tonight is Stan Prager from GoGeeks. Stan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me on the show.
Well, so let's talk about gifts. What were some of the most popular ones this year in terms of technology? I'm guessing iPhones and iPads. Anything else that people got a lot of this year?
Well, PlayStation, Xbox, that's a big one. The new smart TVs. I mean, what's interesting today is that a lot of things that in the past would not have fallen into the electronics bucket, per se, today do. Because if you got a new TV, guess what? You're probably using Netflix or some other online service, so you have to connect it to your network.
Are things more complicated these days, Stan? It seems like you don't just buy a TV anymore. You got to buy everything, the sound bar, and you got to hook it up to everything in your Netflix. Is it more complicated, or am I imagining things?
It's more complicated for those people who didn't do a transition over time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like with a smartphone, right? If you had an iPhone 4 and then you got an iPhone 6, the transition's not going to be too great. But if what you had before was a flip phone and now you have an iPhone 6, guess what? It's a whole new world for you. And it's the same thing with TVs and some of these other devices.
Yeah, everything's internet enabled now, and that's kind of the tough thing for people to figure out. It's not like they can bring a huge 60-inch TV into the store in most cases. So it kind of feels like you're on your own. What's the first step for someone who's trying to figure out how to work an internet enabled TV?
Well, the first step is knowing what your network password is for your home. Which in my
Which is complicated sometimes if you don't write
yes,
it down.
Exactly. And it's one of the things that we end up having to go to people's houses an awful lot about because they don't know what their password is. And that's one of the great disappointments on Christmas Day for the small children who've received a brand new PlayStation and they cannot game online because no one knows what the network password is.
Because their idiot parents didn't write the Wi-Fi password down, right? They're all excited.
And it could be as simple as their telephone number, but they just don't know what it is, you know, and that's really a problem. Or if you got a new modem from Comcast or Verizon and it's got the number right on the bottom, but nobody from the Comcast or Verizon tends to tell you that. So, you know, there's that label, but it doesn't help you if it's Christmas morning and you want to play online.
Is this a generational thing, Stan? Does that mean, am I getting too old where I can't comprehend some of this stuff? Some of the young kids, they open up these boxes and they know exactly how to put them together and how to use them.
Well, I think there's something to be said for that. I don't think you're necessarily out of luck. It was all new to me, too, at one time. But the fact is that, yeah, the younger people have never known a time when they didn't have a computer in their house. Some of them have never known a time when they didn't have a cell phone around. So for them, it's a lot more, it's easier for them to transition, I think.
Do you recommend sometimes people just wait and take it to a pro? I know when I got my iPhone 6, I saw it and I looked at it and I was tempted to turn it on, but I didn't want to screw anything up, so I waited to bring it to the AT&T store. Do you guys recommend that in any circumstances, to just wait and bring it to a professional?
Well, I think that sometimes makes a lot more sense, but you have to be the kind of individual who's willing to take your new Christmas toy and wait to bring it somewhere. So maybe you have more patience. Maybe you're not as immature as I am. I know that even if I had no idea what something was, I would rip the box apart and attempt to make it work, even if I failed miserably.
But if it's a new phone and you can wait, it's smart to wait.
Absolutely,
okay.
Emily. That's really good advice.
Don't ruin it. All right, Stan, thank you so much. Stan Prager from GoGeeks in East Longmeadow. Always a pleasure having the show, Stan.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And our tech support event tonight. If you have a question, Stan, you'll be back here in a few hours.
Yep.
Are you just going to take a nap on the set, I'm guessing, afterwards?
See, sleep in the kitchen.
Maybe. That's a good idea.
Stan and our team of experts will be here to take your calls, so tune in tonight.